It began like any other ordinary day on campus. Students rushed between classes, laughter echoed across the courtyard, and the library was filled with the usual quiet focus of exam season. No one noticed anything unusual. No one sensed that something was about to change. Her name was Emily Carter, a second-year psychology student known for her calm personality and bright smile. She had attended her afternoon lecture, texted her roommate about dinner plans, and headed toward the library to study for an upcoming exam. That was the last normal thing she did. When Emily didn't return to her dorm room that night, her roommate assumed she had stayed late at the library. It wasn't unusual during finals week. But by morning, when her bed was still untouched and her phone went straight to voicemail, worry began to settle in. Friends tried calling. No response. They checked the library. No sign of her. Security was informed, but at first, it didn't seem serious. She probably went out, someone suggested. Maybe she needed space. But Emily wasn't the type to disappear without telling anyone. Her car was still parked in the campus lot. Her bag was missing. Her social media accounts had gone silent. By evening, whispers began spreading across the campus. A girl was missing. Not just late. Not just unreachable. Missing. And as the sun set over the university buildings, an uneasy feeling crept into the air, the kind of feeling that lingers before a storm. No one knew it yet, but Emily's disappearance was only the beginning. The last confirmed sighting of Emily Carter was at 9:47 p.m. The campus library was unusually quiet that night. Final exams were approaching, and most students had already left after long hours of studying. Only a few scattered desks were still occupied under the soft white lights. A security camera near the entrance showed Emily walking in alone, her backpack slung over one shoulder, a stack of books pressed against her chest. She looked normal, calm, focused. She chose a table near the back corner, a spot partially hidden between tall bookshelves. It was one of the quieter areas of the library, away from the main exit. Around 10:30 p.m., a student sitting a few tables away remembered seeing her typing on her laptop. Nothing seemed strange. She wasn't on a phone call. She wasn't arguing with anyone. She was simply studying. But at 11:12 p.m., something changed. Security footage showed a brief flicker in the camera feed near the back section of the library. Just a few seconds of distortion. When the footage returned to normal, Emily's table was empty. Her chair was slightly pulled back. Her books were gone. So was her laptop. No one reported seeing her leave. The library's exit camera showed several students walking out between 11 o'clock and midnight, but not Emily. It was as if she had vanished between the shelves. The security team reviewed the footage again and again. There were no visible signs of struggle. No loud noises reported. No emergency alarms triggered. Just a flicker. And then nothing. The library, once a place of quiet learning, suddenly felt different, darker, heavier. Because somewhere between the pages of textbooks and the silence of study halls, a girl had disappeared, and no one had seen how. By the second day, the campus was no longer calm. Students whispered in hallways. Group chats were filled with speculation. Parents began calling their daughters, asking if they were safe. Fear was spreading faster than facts. But while anxiety grew among the students, the university administration remained strangely quiet. An official email was finally sent out late that afternoon. It was short, cold, carefully worded. Emily Carter has been reported missing. Campus security is actively reviewing the situation. At this time, there is no evidence of foul play. Students are encouraged to continue normal academic activities. No emergency meeting. No campus lockdown. No press conference. Just a paragraph. To many students, it didn't feel right. Why was there no urgency? Why no detailed explanation about the security footage glitch? Why no warning about walking alone at night? When a few students approached the administrative office demanding answers, they were told investigations were ongoing and that spreading rumors would only cause panic. But panic was already there. One professor quietly mentioned that security footage is rarely accidentally corrupted. Another staff member hinted that the university had dealt with reputation issues before and was careful about media attention. The silence began to feel intentional, as if something was being controlled or hidden. That night, the campus felt heavier, not just because a girl was missing, but because the people in charge seemed more concerned about image than truth. And sometimes, in mysteries like this, the silence says more than the words ever could. By the second day, The campus was no longer calm. Students whispered in hallways. Group chats were filled with speculation. Parents began calling their daughters, asking if they were safe. Fear was spreading faster than facts. But while anxiety grew among the students, the university administration remained strangely quiet. An official email was finally sent out late that afternoon. It was short, cold, carefully worded. Emily Carter has been reported missing. Campus security is actively reviewing the situation. At this time, there is no evidence of foul play. Students are encouraged to continue normal academic activities. No emergency meeting. No campus lockdown. No press conference. Just a paragraph. To many students, it didn't feel right. Why was there no urgency? Why no detailed explanation about the security footage glitch? Why no warning about walking alone at night? When a few students approached the administrative office demanding answers, they were told investigations were ongoing and that spreading rumors would only cause panic. But panic was already there. One professor quietly mentioned that security footage is rarely accidentally corrupted. Another staff member hinted that the university had dealt with reputation issues before and was careful about media attention. The silence began to feel intentional, as if something was being controlled or hidden. That night, the campus felt heavier, not just because a girl was missing, but because the people in charge seemed more concerned about image than truth. And sometimes, in mysteries like this, the silence says more than the words ever could. Just when the campus was trying to return to normal, it happened again. For days after Emily disappeared, another student failed to show up for her morning class. Her name was Sarah Mitchell, a journalism major, outspoken, confident, and not the type to skip class without notice. She had been one of the students openly questioning the university's silence about Emily's case. The night before she vanished, Sarah had posted on social media, "Something isn't right about this. We deserve answers." By morning, that post was gone. Her roommate said Sarah had gone out around 8:30 p.m. to meet someone near the student center. She never came back. Her phone was later found near a bench outside the building, screen cracked, battery dead. This time, students didn't whisper. They panicked. 2 girls missing in less than a week. Same campus. No explanation. The administration sent another brief email, once again urging students to remain calm. They claimed there was no confirmed connection between the 2 cases. But students weren't convinced. Security cameras near the student center also showed brief signal interference around the time Sarah disappeared. The same kind of flicker. The same unexplained gap. Fear tightened its grip around the university. Girls stopped walking alone. Study groups ended early. Parents demanded answers. And one chilling thought began spreading through the dorms like wildfire. This wasn't random. Someone was watching. And whoever it was still on campus. After Sarah disappeared, fear was no longer a rumor. It was real. The campus that once felt alive and energetic now felt tense and fragile. Laughter in the hallways grew softer. Students constantly looked over their shoulders. Every unfamiliar face suddenly seemed suspicious. Group chats were filled with warnings. Don't walk alone. Share your live location. Stay in groups after sunset. Girls who once studied late in the library now left before dark. Dorm rooms were double-locked. Some students even began sleeping with lights on. The student center, once crowded and noisy at night, became eerily quiet. Parents started arriving on campus, demanding answers from the administration. Some students withdrew from classes entirely. Others packed their bags, refusing to stay another night. Security presence increased. More patrols, more guards. But instead of comfort, it only reminded everyone that something was terribly wrong. Rumors began spreading faster than facts. Some believed it was a trafficking ring. Others whispered about a secret campus organization. A few even claimed the underground tunnels beneath the old buildings were involved. Every creaking door, every flicker of light, every shadow in the hallway, everything felt threatening. The worst part wasn't just that 2 girls were missing. It was that no one felt safe anymore. The campus, once a place of ambition, dreams, and future plans, now carried an invisible weight of uncertainty. And in that heavy silence, one question echoed louder than any rumor. Who would be next? While fear spread across campus, one person refused to sit back and wait. Her name was Ava Thompson. Ava had known Emily since their first day of freshman year. They had shared classes, late-night study sessions, secrets, and dreams about the future. Emily wasn't just a friend, she was family. And Ava knew something wasn't right. Emily would never disappear without telling her. Never ignore calls. Never leave her dorm without her phone charger, something she always carried. When the administration kept sending calm, carefully worded emails, Ava felt anger rising inside her. They're hiding something, she told Sarah just days before Sarah vanished. Now Sarah was gone too. That was the moment Ava stopped being afraid and started becoming determined. She began retracing Emily's last steps. She visited the library, sat at the exact table Emily had used, spoke to students who had been there that night. Most remembered nothing unusual, but one freshman hesitated before speaking. I heard something, he said quietly, like a chair scraping hard across the floor, but when I looked up, no one was there. Ava's heart pounded. She requested access to the security footage. Denied. She asked campus security detailed questions. Vague answers. The more she pushed, the more resistance she faced. That only made her more certain. This wasn't random. This wasn't coincidence. And if no one else was willing to dig deeper, she would. Because sometimes, in the middle of fear and silence, it only takes one person brave enough to refuse both. And Ava had just made her choice. Ava knew one thing for sure. Cameras don't lie. The campus had surveillance everywhere. Hallways, entrances, parking lots, even near the library exit where Emily was last seen. If something happened, it had to be recorded. Or so she thought. After being denied official access, Ava found another way. A tech-savvy classmate, Daniel, agreed to help her check archived footage through a student maintenance portal. Late at night, inside Daniel's dorm room, the glow of a laptop screen illuminated their tense faces. They found the date, the time, the camera angle facing the library entrance. Ava's heart raced as the footage began to load. Students walking out, a couple arguing, a janitor pushing a cart. Then, a glitch. The screen froze for 3 seconds. When the video resumed, the timestamp had skipped ahead 12 minutes. 12 missing minutes. Right during the exact window Emily disappeared. Daniel frowned. That's not normal. System errors don't skip clean blocks of time like that. Ava felt a chill crawl down her spine. They checked another camera from the same night, the hallway leading toward the old science building. Same thing. A brief flicker. Then a time jump. Not random. Not accidental. Deliberate. Someone had accessed the system. Someone had erased something. And whoever it was had clearance high enough to do it quietly. Ava leaned back slowly, realization settling in. This wasn't just a missing student case anymore. This was planned. And if someone powerful was covering tracks, it meant one terrifying thing. The danger wasn't just outside in the shadows. It was inside the system itself. The old science building had always felt different. Older than the rest of campus. Quieter. Almost forgotten. After discovering the missing CCTV footage, Ava couldn't ignore one detail. Both camera glitches happened near this building. That couldn't be a coincidence. Late one evening, just before curfew hours, Ava and Daniel slipped inside. The corridors were dim, lights flickering softly. The air smelled of dust and old chemicals. Most classrooms were locked, but at the end of the hallway, they noticed something strange. A storage door slightly open. It wasn't supposed to be. Daniel pushed it gently. Inside was a narrow room filled with broken desks and metal shelves. Nothing unusual, at first, until Ava saw it. Behind one of the shelves, faint scrape marks on the floor, like something heavy had been moved repeatedly. Her pulse quickened. Together, they shifted the shelf aside. And there it was, a hidden metal hatch embedded in the floor. Rusty, old, but recently disturbed. Ava swallowed hard and pulled the handle. It opened with a low, echoing creak. Below them was darkness, and a narrow concrete staircase leading underground. Cold air rushed upward. Daniel turned on his phone flashlight. The beam revealed damp walls, pipes running along the ceiling, and something else. Footprints in the dust. Fresh ones. Ava's breath became shallow. This wasn't an abandoned tunnel. Someone was using it. And if the tunnel connected to other parts of campus, then whoever was behind the disappearances had built the perfect invisible pathway. Hidden from cameras. Hidden from sight. Hidden beneath their feet the entire time. Ava looked into the darkness and realized something chilling. They weren't just getting closer to the truth. They were walking straight into it. Ava and Daniel descended the narrow concrete staircase cautiously. Each step echoed through the tunnel, bouncing off the damp walls, creating shadows that danced like restless spirits. The air smelled musty, mixed with something faintly metallic. Halfway down, Daniel's flashlight flickered. Ava cursed under her breath, her heartbeat racing. Every instinct screamed danger, but fear only sharpened her resolve. Then a sound. Soft, almost imperceptible. A whisper. At first, they thought it was the wind moving through the pipes. But the whisper came again. Leave now. Ava froze. Her hands gripped Daniel's arm. He nodded slightly, fear mirrored in his eyes. Who's there? Ava called, her voice steady despite the tremor in her chest. Silence. Then the whisper returned, louder, more urgent. You shouldn't be here. It wasn't just a warning. There was something deliberate in it, as if the speaker was watching their every move, waiting. Ava shined her flashlight down the tunnel. Shadows stretched into the distance, making the passage seem endless. Somewhere deep inside, she could make out shapes, crates, old barrels, and something else that made her stomach turn. Fresh footprints leading deeper underground. Daniel swallowed hard. This isn't just an old storage tunnel, he whispered. Someone's been living down here. Or hiding something. Ava nodded, determination hardening in her eyes. Fear could not stop her now. The whispers echoed once more, fading into the shadows. Stop, or you'll disappear too. But Ava stepped forward. Every footstep carried her closer to the truth. And deep down, she realized that in darkness, only courage and resolve could guide her. The tunnel was alive with secrets, and they were about to uncover the first of many. Ava and Daniel continued cautiously down the tunnel, the flashlight beams cutting through the darkness like blades. Every step felt heavier than the last. The air grew colder, and a faint dripping sound echoed from somewhere deeper underground. Then Ava noticed something. A small, crumpled piece of paper partially hidden beneath a loose floor tile. She picked it up with trembling fingers. It was a handwritten note. Stop looking. You won't like what you find. Her heart skipped a beat. Someone was watching them. Someone was aware they were here. Daniel leaned closer to examine the note. This wasn't left years ago. The paper isn't old. Someone put it here recently. Ava's mind raced. If this was a warning, it meant they were dangerously close to the truth. She looked around the tunnel walls, noticing faint scratches, symbols etched into the concrete. They didn't make sense yet, but something about them screamed intentionality. A message, maybe, or a code. As they moved deeper, they stumbled upon a small pile of personal items. A backpack, a pair of shoes, and a notebook. The notebook was opened, and the handwriting was familiar. It belonged to Sarah. Ava's hands shook. She had found the first real piece of evidence. Daniel whispered, "She's been here. But where did she go?" The tunnel seemed endless, winding farther underground. The shadows lengthened, and the dripping water echoed like a heartbeat, warning them to turn back. But Ava knew there was no turning back. This first clue was more than just a piece of paper or a missing girl's belongings. It was proof that someone had been hiding the girls here, deliberately, methodically. And now, the game had changed. Ava realized that every decision they made from this point forward could either save the missing girls or put themselves in the same peril. Deeper in the tunnel, Ava and Daniel's flashlight beams flickered against the cold concrete walls. The further they went, the heavier the air felt, thick with dust, fear, and the unspoken secrets of the campus. Then they reached a small chamber, hidden from the main tunnel. Ava's heart skipped a beat. Inside, crates were stacked haphazardly, some broken, some sealed. Personal belongings of missing students, backpacks, shoes, notebooks, were scattered across the floor. Ava knelt and picked up a notebook. Sarah's handwriting stared back at her. Her stomach churned. This wasn't a random disappearance. Someone had been collecting evidence, or worse, keeping them here. Daniel's voice trembled. This is insane. They've been living here. Before Ava could answer, she noticed something even more chilling. A security monitor tucked away in a corner, connected to live feeds from hidden cameras around the campus. The monitor flickered, showing grainy images of dorm hallways, the library, and even the entrances. Her blood ran cold. Someone on campus was watching everything, every step, every word. Then they found a folder. Inside were documents, schedules of students, timetables, even security logs. Names, locations, times. And right there, marked in red, Emily Carter and Sarah Mitchell. Ava whispered, this was planned. They weren't random targets. Someone is choosing them and watching. Daniel backed away, pale. We're in way over our heads. We need the police. But Ava shook her head. No, the police don't know what's happening yet. If we alert them too soon, whoever is behind this could hide everything. We need to understand who it is before it's too late. As they studied the documents, a new realization hit Ava. The disappearances were connected to someone high up in the campus hierarchy, someone everyone trusted. Fear, determination, and adrenaline surged through her. This wasn't just about finding the missing girls anymore. It was about exposing the shocking truth behind the entire campus before more lives were at risk. After discovering the hidden chamber and the damning documents, Ava and Daniel thought they had a lead, a way to finally understand the mystery. But the danger wasn't over. The next morning, Ava received a message on her phone. No name, no number, just a simple text. Stop digging, or you'll disappear too. Her hand trembled as she showed it to Daniel. His face went pale. Who would know we were down there? He whispered. Only someone on campus, someone watching everything. Ava didn't reply. She didn't need to. The warning only strengthened her resolve. But it wasn't just a text. That evening, a stack of papers was slipped under her dorm door. Pages torn from notebooks, sketches of the campus, the very tunnel they had explored, all with cryptic marks and notes in red ink. A knock on her window startled her. She looked out, shadows moving just beyond the dim lamppost. No one in sight. Even her friends began noticing strange occurrences. Lockers opened without reason, their emails filled with anonymous threats, and someone whispering in the hallways late at night. Fear was no longer contained to the missing girls. It had reached everyone searching for answers. Daniel said quietly, "They want to scare us off. They don't want anyone finding the truth." Ava clenched her fists. "Then they don't know me. Fear won't stop me. Not now." Every warning, every shadow, every threat only confirmed one terrifying reality. The person behind the disappearances was not just clever. They were patient, calculated, watching every move, waiting for the wrong step. And if Ava and Daniel slipped even once, they could become the next victims. The stakes had never been higher. Every choice now mattered. Every second could be the difference between life and disappearance. The disappearances had now shaken the entire campus. Parents demanded answers, students whispered in terror, and the media had begun circling. Finally, the university could no longer contain the pressure. The police were called in. Detective Harris arrived with a small team, notebooks and flashlights in hand. The students led them to the science building, the hidden tunnel, and the chamber filled with the missing girls' belongings. At first, it seemed promising. The detectives took statements, collected evidence, and assured everyone that they were taking the case seriously. But Ava noticed something unsettling. Some officers seemed hesitant, as if certain areas were off-limits. Some questions went unanswered, and some footage the students had found appeared missing from the official files. One detective, clearly new to the case, whispered to Ava, "There's something strange. Certain senior officials don't want us digging too deep." Ava's heart sank. Someone powerful on campus was still manipulating the investigation. The danger was far from over. That night, Ava and Daniel returned to the tunnel. They realized that waiting for the authorities to solve everything would only give the perpetrator time to cover their tracks. The police might help with evidence collection, but uncovering the truth required courage, intelligence, and action from those who knew the tunnels and the campus best. Still, the presence of the police added a layer of tension. Every creak, every shadow, every step in the underground passage now felt like it was being monitored. It became clear the investigation had shifted from personal discovery to a deadly game between those hiding the truth and those desperate to reveal it. And somewhere in the darkness, the person responsible watched it all unfold, knowing that one wrong move could end the search, or worse, claim another victim. The real danger was no longer just the tunnels or the threats. It was a battle of wits, courage, and survival, and the clock was ticking. Ava and Daniel had followed the trail for days. Hidden tunnels, missing footage, threatening messages, and personal belongings of the girls. Every clue pointed to someone clever, calculating, and dangerously close to the center of power on campus. But nothing could have prepared them for the truth. It was Professor Langley, the same man who had taught Emily and Sarah, praised for his mentorship and dedication, the one students trusted implicitly. His office, lined with awards and commendations, hid a darker reality. Ava had discovered a secret passage behind his bookshelves, a direct connection to the tunnels beneath the campus. Inside, files, journals, and a detailed map of the campus were meticulously organized. There were notes tracking the movements of Emily, Sarah, and even other students, schedules, habits, dorm entries. Every disappearance had been planned. Ava's stomach churned. The realization was unbearable. This wasn't some random criminal. It was someone who had authority, knowledge, and access to the very systems designed to keep students safe. Daniel whispered, voice trembling. He was watching them all along. Every threatening message, every glitch in the security footage, every anonymous warning, all orchestrated by someone who was supposed to guide, protect, and educate. The betrayal cut deeper than fear. It was a violation of trust, of safety, and of belief in the people around them. Ava clenched her fists. We need to stop him. Now. But as they planned their next move, they knew confronting him would be the most dangerous step yet. Professor Langley had prepared for everything, and even one mistake could cost them, or the missing girls, their lives. The person everyone had trusted had become the ultimate threat, and the final confrontation was inevitable. The hunt for the girls had turned into a battle against a predator hidden in plain sight. Ava and Daniel knew they couldn't wait for anyone else. With careful planning, they returned to the hidden tunnels one final time, determined to find the missing girls and gather proof against Professor Langley. The air was thick with tension. Every step echoed like a warning. Flashlights cut through the darkness, illuminating crates, personal items, and faint footprints leading deeper underground. At last, they found them. Emily and Sarah were trapped in a small hidden chamber, frightened but unharmed. Relief washed over Ava. She hugged Emily, then turned to Sarah. Their faces showed a mixture of terror and hope. We're here now, Ava whispered. You're safe. But their work wasn't done. Evidence had to be taken, and Professor Langley had to be exposed. Carefully, they documented everything. Journals, maps, notes, all of which clearly detailed his crimes. When they finally confronted the authorities with proof, the campus could no longer ignore the truth. Professor Langley was arrested, and investigations revealed the horrifying depth of his planning. The university was shaken to its core. Trust had been broken, but the bravery of Ava, Daniel, and the resilience of Emily and Sarah became a story of courage that spread far beyond campus walls. In the aftermath, the girls returned to their lives, and the campus slowly regained a sense of normalcy. Students walked the halls with caution, but also with renewed awareness and solidarity. Ava realized that one person's courage could challenge even the darkest secrets, and that silence could be broken if someone dared to speak the truth. The missing girls had been found, the perpetrator was stopped, and the campus, though forever changed, had a new lesson etched into its history. Fear could never overpower determination, and the truth, no matter how deeply hidden, would always come out.